All right, we are down in the southern approach to the yard where I'm going to be focusing my efforts here. This is the area that works its way into the U that goes over the workbench. So we're going to focus over here. Left off the last video, I had a couple of pieces of track kind of laid in here showing you where I'm going to go. But what I've done since then is come in here and remove bits of glue and sanded this down and kind of cleaned it up. There's some pretty big gouges in places where the glue really bit, places where I had drilled holes for feeders that won't be needed anymore. So what I'm gonna do now is just come in and fill some of those bigger gouges and holes up with putty, and we'll come back after that. All right, so got the putty in, got that sanded down, and just threw a, kind of thin, it's gonna be scenery and stuff over that, but it's not pink or white anymore. And so I'm ready to lay track across here. And what I'm actually gonna do is start right here with this turnout I talked about before. That will be a second track that goes into the rip track back here. So again, one for cars that need repairs, and one for parts and pieces for those cars, and scrap going out, pieces from the repairs. So I'm gonna do that now. I think what I'm gonna do is come in here. I don't think I wanna remove all that. I've weathered that track and I spent a decent amount of time on that. So I think what I'm gonna do is actually come in here with the Sharpie and mark the ends here, there and there on the track that's underneath, and then use a Dremel to remove that piece of rail, and then I'll just drop the turnout right in. So more to come. All right, so that was pretty easy. Track came right out, no problem. And then what I did was I came in and I cut these little plastic pieces that hold the rail down to the ties. I cut the pieces off of the last two ties on this side. I did the same thing over here, and that allowed me to slide the rail joiners all the way onto the existing track. And now it's just simply a matter of dropping the turnout into place. Just drop it right in there, and then sliding the joiners back on the two sides. So I will come back after I've done that and show you what it looks like. Okay, well, except for the obvious difference in the weathered versus not weathered track, I think that fits right in. I did the same thing on the other side over there. And I think the next thing I want to do is go ahead and get some feeders on a joiner that'll go here. And I've got a piece of track here that is already somewhat weathered, although I think it was that, I'll have to figure out which side was out. I think this side. But I want to take some of the ties out of here to give it the same look as the rear track there. So I'll be working on that, and then I'll drop that spur in coming off of here, and then we'll have the rip track area at least laid. More to come. Okay, well, I've got the ties nice and spaced out on that piece of track I had. I'll make a couple crooked on purpose. But really all you do is remove little pairs of them throughout, and then take the rest and just sort of space them out. So you can see how I just I didn't just cut every other one out. I would cut like 3 or 4 groups of 2, and then the ones near that, cut those in half and slide them into the space vacated by the ones that went out, and then just keep doing that and work your way down the track. And it gives you a nice, industrial, I'm gonna have all kinds of dirt and weeds growing up through this and stuff. And anyway, just getting it going here. So I'm gonna go ahead and get those feeders in and put this on, and I'll glue this down. I actually did not glue the turnout in. I'll just let the ballast do that, and the tracks around it, that track is glued in, and so is the track on the other end. So I'm not gonna glue the turnout in at this point. But I will drop some feeders here coming off this diverging route, and get that in, and then we'll get this piece of track installed there. All right, we're laying track again, y'all. How about that? So we've got got the spur in there, and I just used this foam safe tacky glue to hold the track down. And I'm gonna slip one, I gotta file a tie down, but I come in on these joints like this, and I'm gonna put a tie in there to kind of hide that seam there a little bit, make it blend in a little bit better. See if I can find an example of where I've done that elsewhere. I guess I didn't really put one in there. Where's a good example? Well, I have so much track I took out. I'm sure there's something somewhere here. How about down here? Yeah, I slipped them in underneath the rail joiners there and there to kind of make it blend in. So I'm gonna do the same thing right there. All right, well, the glue on the new Spur, which is this track here, has now dried. So you can kind of see what I was talking about with regards to spacing out the ties. I did it here, I did it here, I did it back there. I think that gives a nice look for this like industrial trackage. So that glue is dry, that Spur is in, and I'm very happy with how that turned out. So now I'm going to turn my attention over here to the engine servicing facility. And I'm gonna set everything off this track. That's gonna be just pretty much a straight shot, and then I'll curve coming off of this route of the turnout here to be parallel with that. And then that will set where the curve on this track needs to begin, because all three of these tracks will just shoot off that way, parallel to that one. So I need to get that one in. I think this is a piece of track I'm gonna use. Got some room on the end to add some more. More to come on that backdrop there, but I'm gonna deal with that little piece that's kind of in the way so that I can do that. But my intention here is to run this dang near to the back there. So we'll see what that looks like, and I'll get cracking on that. Okay, it's been a little bit of a couple of days since I filmed the last clip, but the last clips had that turnout and Spur going in. I've since finished the engine service area, which is this area back here. It used to be 3 tracks that came off of here, and they would go back that way, and then the main that came off of here was curving right away, and this curved turnout was where that straight turnout is. That went into the yard ladder, which is here, and the runaround, which is there. I've since added this track, and you can see I did the same little trick with the ties on that one to kind of make it look a bit more worn down. I'm modeling late 50s. This is going to be an icing area, and icing was definitely on the decline by then. It was, starting to switch to mechanical reefers. So the ice dock and everything will go here. So that track's in. I reworked this one. I had to kind of undo this end of it to make it connect to a number 5 instead of a curved. So that's all in now. And I've got the curve turnout in. In the last clip, I was talking about running these 3 tracks all the way to the back. Now, I don't think you can tell on the video, but there's a bit of a fall here. And I could fill it in with something and run them all the way back. Or that may well be enough for the engine servicing area, and I can just put a building or some trees or something behind it. So I'm gonna think about that. But this is enough room on this back track to drop, at least a fuel car and a sanding car, maybe 2 fuel cars, whatever. Plenty of room back there. And there's enough room on these 2 tracks for at least, a pair of locomotives on each one, which may be all we need. I'll think about it. And so that concludes the modifications I needed to make to this end of the yard coming in. So now I'm ready to start running the main. I'll get that in. Probably follow this turnout around. I'm probably going to start with cork roadbed right around here where I know there's some fall. That'll help level out that. I'll file it down or whatever just to build up some roadbed, which I don't have through the yard. It's just all flat. But coming out of here, I think it would be cool for the main to be up on cork and have some, significant terrain build up around it. So I'll be thinking about how to do that. But that's the next phase is coming over here for this track that comes through this U like I've talked about. But I definitely needed to get the new alignment done on this end of the yard. And so I've still got some toothpicks and 1, 2, 3 blocks in there as stuff's drying, but I'm really happy with that. I haven't wired anything yet. I've got feeders coming off lots of different places like there. So up under here, it's kind of a mess now with feeders dropped all over the place. All those wires hanging down is new feeders. So I'll tie that stuff into the existing terminal blocks. And I've used an ohm meter and done some continuity testing and just to make sure I had continuity where I thought I did, and as soon as I got to the place where the feeders weren't wired, of course, you know, like here, for example, there's a feeder here that's not wired yet. If I do this track to the one on the other side of the turnout, it's nothing because it's not wired. So that's coming. That'll give me continuity, and it's a good place to end. So I'm pretty happy with the progress this week at this end of the yard. It's coming together nice. I think the improvements are going to be well worth it, and little better operations there, and hopefully an ice dock here that's going to be front and center and really cool to look at. So more to come. I'll leave y'all here. Hope everybody's well and safe. Thanks, y'all.